Mayweather Promotions Leonard Ellerbe claps back at Eddie Hearn, proving him wrong with Tank's fight versus Devin Haney's fight in terms of the actual attendance. We're going to talk about that and more in this video. The future is now. The Hibernation 5s by Kenichi Bear. Hybrid gaming and lifestyle headphones. Out of the box, you can connect to any console or PC. Bluetooth ready with a low latency USB adapter, color RGB, and extreme bass mode. The Hibernation 5s adjust to you. Whether you need a gaming, travel, gym, or lifestyle headphones, the Hibernations got you covered. The new Hibernation 5s, link in the description. Customize the way you hear the world. Welcome to the nation. Yep, what up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Listen, I don't know how you found my video, but somehow, somewhere you made it. Please help others find the content by throwing a like on the video. This simple gesture is free, it's quick, it's painless, takes you a couple of seconds. It shouldn't take too long. And it helps the channel. Now, Tank Davis just fought Isaac Cruz. Very fun fight. It was competitive to a degree. I had Tank winning comfortably. Tank defeated him on the judges' scorecard. It was a Sunday fight. I kind of rather liked the Sunday fight. You know, it was a good element, and I got to start my week. Very fun. Now, the fight was indeed a sellout, and just to give you guys proof of that, this has widely been reported, but here's a boxing reporter. And it says 15,850 is the announced attendance for a sellout crowd. Davis headlines at the Staples Center. The arena is scaled for 16,000. So 15,850, you know, that's 16,000 people. Sellout is expected per source. Here's how Tank's last 5 bouts were attended. Mario Barrios in Atlanta, 16,005. Santa Cruz fight. Now, keep in mind, this was really before the vaccinations were widely used, and this was in the pandemic. And they were doing a lot of social distancing, and he still did 9,000. He did 9,000 in that particular crowd that was at the height of the social distancing protocols and things like that, where you just couldn't have too many sections filled out. But we've seen UFC and boxing do fights to capacity since that point, you know, with the vaccines and the booster shots and stuff. Gamboa fight, I went to that fight. There was 14,129, and he did the same type of number in Baltimore. I was at that fight. I was at most of these fights, to be honest. He did 14,686, and then in LA versus Ruiz, he had 18,048. And this was supposed to be Abner Matas, of course, but Abner Matas pulled out with the detached retina. So it's very clear to see that Tank is a star. These are great numbers, and not to mention his last 3 fights have been on pay-per-view. One person that hasn't seemingly been as impressed or isn't sold or convinced on Tank's star power is allegedly Eddie Hearn. And Eddie Hearn told the whole world, anybody who would listen, that he, in fact, had the bigger fight. I told you it was cap. Now let's hear from Mayweather Promotions, Leonard Ellerbe. So let me pause this. Before I get into what Leonard said, let's just quickly, I'll let you listen to what Eddie Hearn had to say that sparked this. Roll the clip.
On Gervonta Davis. Not hating on Gervonta Davis, right? But what's the bigger fight?
Anytime you have to start off with, I'm not hating on blah, 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 most likely you're going to seconds later begin hating on blah, blah, blah. It's the oldest trick in the book. It's like when someone says to you, not to be rude, but you're pretty ugly. You know what I mean? The fact that they said not to be rude, you already knew something rude was to follow. But I'll let Eddie continue. Roll the clip.
not hating on Gervonta Davis, right? But what's the bigger fight this weekend? I'm sorry, but everybody's talking about Haney Diaz. No one's talking about Gervonta against Isaac Cruz. And I'm not saying it's a bad fight or anything. I'm not hating on these guys. This is a much bigger fight than that fight. And it's a much better fight. So you can't keep ignoring people and just live in a bubble and say, yeah, when those guys do that, when it's like Demetrius Andre. Yeah, when that guy wins a world title, all right, wins a world title. Oh yeah, he don't sell any tickets, sells out Providence. He's not making any money, making a lot of money. Like, they've already said they'll only fight guys in the PBC. So that tells you everything you need to know. This isn't me hating on fights. I'm just talking reality. Gervonta Davis against Isaac Cruz on Sunday. What does it do? 100,000? Less? I mean, no. Cruz
doing 200 plus.
Yeah, but I mean, that last time out, you talked about against Leo Santa Cruz. You know, a household name.
Well,
Barrios was a world champion. You know. But,
regular title.
Okay, well, you've gone back on your word. You know, and then Isaac Cruz, who is, listen, he's tough and game, but it's not that it's a bad fight. It's coming off the back of. This is the problem. You got Crawford Porter comes 2 weeks after 700,000 buys or 6 or whatever it was, Canelo Alvarez, and then after the 130 pay-per-view, 2 weeks later, you've got Gervonta Davis against someone no one's ever heard of because he's not, but he's a good fighter, Cruz. But let's be honest, no one's ever heard of him, right?
Wow. So you could tell right then and there, Eddie Hearn is just hating. He would love to be promoting Gervonta Davis, but that's not who he has. Leonard Ellerby responded to this, and he says this was He says this was totally unnecessary on his part, Eddie Hearn. But here you go. One event sold 2,600 tickets, and the other event was announced attendance of 15,850. One event grossed 6 times more than the other. Which one was bigger? Wow. So he's alleging that they sold 2,600 tickets for Devin Haney versus the Jojo Diaz fight. And just being honest, they did have the top bowl was extremely dark. I seen, like, I'm sure you guys can go to boxing Twitter, but everybody on boxing Twitter was saying that the crowd was a little bit dormant and the lights were low. Like, let me see if I could put this. Lights. Yeah, I'm trying to put in the string of keywords. But anyway, I was on boxing Twitter that particular night, and a lot of people were saying it was so dark in there and blah, blah, blah. So Tank's doing 16,000, and Eddie Hearn is feeding the public and in front of media scrums, feeding them lies, and it's just not true. No matter what you say, Tank Davis is a star. You can't, there's nothing that a British promoter can do. He can't come to America and change the reality of that. LeBron James was at Tank Davis's fight. Shout out to my guy Heyman's Planet, right? Here's a list of some of the people. Tank brought out the stars out against a virtually unknown fighter. Dwight Howard was there. Carmelo Anthony, Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce, Kawhi Leonard, Kenny Smith, Irvin Magic Johnson, King Los, Tyga, YG, Yellow Beezy, Nav, Lil Durk, Mike Epps, Michael Blackston, and more. Stop doubting his star power. Excellently put from Bad Beats Boxing, Lex. You know, and that's just some, because someone said Lil Baby was there, and I'm sure there was more people. LeBron James, I heard, was there. Look, LeBron, this is a boxing reporter that I know. LeBron in the building for tonight's fight, Davis Cruz, right? So Eddie Hearn can tell you these tall tales, but it does not add up. We need to start holding boxing accountable, boxers, promoters, networks accountable for that in which they say. So I understand Leonard Ellerby, why he's checking all this stuff from Eddie Hearn, because Eddie, his own words was that he had the bigger event. The undercard was trash. That's my honest opinion. Devin Haney fight Jojo Diaz, that was good. The undercard to me was trash. And then to make it worse, the DAZN telecast, I'm not a fan of the commentating team. And to make that worse is there was these blank pockets on DAZN, right? blank pockets of empty space where they try to fill it with a bunch of noise and nonsense and I don't know, Sean Porter tributes and just various things instead of getting to the main event or getting to the next fight. So the pacing of it seems abnormal. So no matter what Eddie Hearn says, Tank is a star. There's no getting around that. Tank is known. You could do a starting 6 and have a raw squad just with the NBA players that were, you would have LeBron, Kawhi, Melo, KG, you know what I'm saying? Paul Pierce and whoever else was there. And this is just with Tank Davis. So Eddie Hearn absolutely is hating because Eddie Hearn was saying stuff like, oh, he's fighting this unknown. So that should make it more impressive that Tank Davis is doing an announced attendance of 15,850 on a Sunday. And Eddie Hearn is saying nobody even knows who this guy is. So you have no choice but to be even more impressed with Showtime, Premier Boxing Champions, Mayweather Promotions, and Gervonta, and the effort put forth that they could put together an event on a Sunday that's producing a crowd of 16,000, right? And their original opponent was Rolly, and it was a late replacement opponent that people haven't heard of. Again, Eddie Hearn does not understand American boxing. And the more he continues to talk and the more he continues to say these nonsensical things, the more you get to see that. That is the absolute truth and reality. If he knew boxing, he would just remain silent on some of these issues because he's always proven wrong. He's like trying to predict, oh, what does the pay-per-view do? 100,000, who cares? This is not your event. Why do you care? If Tank is of no consequence, then why do you care what he's doing? If they're promoting him bad, then let them fail. But the fact that you can't stop talking about PBC fighters from the Charlo brothers to Gervonta to whatever, it shows a clear void and really an insecurity. Because again, for me, I don't have to talk about the ops. I just give them the rope. They can hang themselves. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, if people are going to fail, they're going to fail naturally. I don't need to do nothing extra. I just go about my day. So there's no reason to hate and talk bad. And there's really no reason to propagate lies. You said your fight and event was bigger, and per Mayweather Promotions, he got information that this event with Jojo Diaz sold 2,600 tickets. And I don't know. I wasn't there, but I know people that were at the Tank fight and they told me it was cracking. I have correspondence. I put out some footage from the fight. Now, the craziest thing is Eddie Hearn seems so infatuated with other people's business. Eddie, OPP, other people's property, Hearn. He's so concerned with what other people are doing. And it's like, where are the numbers to your show? You made a claim and said Haney versus Jojo Diaz. Everybody's talking about it. And whilst you're talking about what Gervonta will or won't do in terms of numbers and nobody knows Pitbull Cruz and I'm not hating, but all these things, we don't know none of your numbers. So it's just, it looks cheesy. It looks corny. And that's not the American way. And you can tell Eddie Hearn's not an American. And you're not going to really succeed by that. You know, Tank, he's putting on big events. To be honest, you guys let me know in the comment section, but the feedback from the whole card that I've received, the Boxingego watch party, I did one for Devin Haney and Jojo Diaz, and I did one for Gervonta Davis, and I did one for both fights back-to-back days. The Boxingego watch party, I made more money on the Tank Davis one. I got more views on the Tank one. That's not a knock on anybody. That is the absolute reality. If you look at my channel will show you the same metrics and statistics. Although you won't know how much money I'm making from each video, the audience retention was higher for Tank fight. And in terms of pure views, something you guys can all do, check yourself. On the Tank one, I did 175,000 on a slightly longer stream And then when Devin, Haney, Jojo Diaz, that video did 34,000. So basically 100,000 more on a longer stream messing with Tank's fight. These are just pure numbers. You guys can go verify the numbers. Tank's a star. No matter what Eddie Hearn says to try to hate or to detract from people buying the pay-per-view, it will not work. And Tank put on a daring performance where he had to battle some adversity with his hand injury, which has now been proven. I will make a video about that. Stay tuned to the channel, subscribe. Floyd Mayweather, you know, the hate he received, now you're seeing Tank get it. And I guess it comes with the territory, but it also makes people look bad when they have these negative hopes for you and then you continue to thrive. So Eddie Hearn, he's way out of line, saying he had the bigger event. He has nothing that he can facilitate or prove that with. Let me know how I did in this video. Subscribe to the channel if you enjoy the content, and I'm out. Are you tired of your YouTube videos not getting any views? Well, consider TubeBuddy. I've used TubeBuddy for years to scale up my YouTube channel. Now we're sitting over 200,000 subscribers. TubeBuddy is a browser extension that offers a ton of built-in productivity and time-saving services to take your channel to the next level. Use my link in the description to get started with TubeBuddy and level up your channel faster.